Hi, hello, welcome back, or welcome if you're new. I'm glad you're here. I'm Emily from Notably Emily, and I will be talking about my journal system today. In the last 6 months or so, my lineup has changed quite a bit, so I want to talk about why it's changed and what I'm using right now. This video is also sponsored by Leuchtturm1917. You can use my code Emily20 for 20% off of their entire Canadian website, so I encourage you to check that out. Before we get into the journals, I wanted to talk a little bit about my approach and my journal system and a little bit about my philosophy. I really like trying out different journals and swapping things and leaving some things behind, adding some things in as I need to reflect my needs and what I enjoy. So that's a big part of the hobby and something that I like a lot about it. I want to say that my journaling approach is pretty functional, I guess. Like, I primarily use journaling as a tool and as something that's enjoyable to do. And then secondarily, it's also for keeping info and memories and the creative side as well. I find it extremely helpful for organizing my thoughts and thinking through things, which is funny because like the Leuchtturm1917 motto is writing is thinking with the hand. And I completely agree with that. I experience that every time that I write in my journals, and it's a big reason why I love journaling and why I do it so often. It's very helpful for thinking through things, getting my thoughts down on paper, and working through ideas that I have. So that's the main reason why I really enjoy journaling. And that's why most of my journals are focused around a specific need or a specific function, and then the creative side also comes through in that as well. You'll notice that my lineup is quite a bit different from my last journal system video, so if you want to see how much it has changed, definitely check that video out after this one. All right, it is time to get into these journals and how I'm using them. I'm going to start with the giant one. This is the Leuchtturm1917 A4 Plus Master Journal, and it has, I think, about 125 pages or so. It's quite big, as you can see, and it also matches my nails, which is really fun. It's a little bit thinner than your typical journal, but that's also because the pages are so large, so it ends up being about the same amount of paper as like an A5, for instance. I'm using this journal as a vision board and a functional spread journal for wedding planning because I recently got engaged a couple of months ago. So I have a couple of pages done here. So I do have this vision board sort of spread here, and the funny thing is I already bought my dress and it looks very similar to these. So the vision board is working, and it was a lot of fun to put this together and get some ideas down on paper. And then I also have this sort of seating arrangement spread as well that I started to lay out. It'll probably change once we actually book a venue, but I thought this would be really fun and easy to do because it's little strips of Post-it notes, and then you can write people's names on them and move them around. I also want to use this for venue photos once we choose a venue, and decorations, and also keeping my notes from other notebooks in this journal as well. So the dot grid will be really helpful for keeping things organized, and then of course the pages are numbered too, so when I use the ginormous table of contents at the front, it'll be easy to find what I'm looking for. So that's pretty much what I'm using it for now. I had some extra photos in there. It's fun to have such a big space to play with. I enjoy using it so far. I've never used a journal this large, so it's been fun to kind of play around with, and it's nice to kind of have such a big space that you can then fold up and put on a shelf. But fun fact, this actually doesn't fit on my shelf, you know, vertically like it does with my other journals, so I have to put it in like this and like shove it in like that. But it's still worth it. And the color is pretty too. And there's the 2 bookmarks. So yeah, so that is the A4 Plus. Next, I want to talk about my regular traveler's notebook. This one is the camel size, and I swapped it for the green cord like I did on my passport. It's pretty much just hosting my 2 swap journals that I have right now because I am so behind. If you are unaware, I have these journals with my 2 friends, Emma and Olivia, and we write or decorate a couple of spreads and then we pass it on to the next person. So these have been going on for a while now. Let's see if there's a date. There's not a date on this one. Yeah, 2022. So 2022 is when we started these journals, and I have 2 of them right now because I'm so behind. But I put these in my traveler's notebook for safekeeping, and I keep them together here. And then when I want to use them, I just pull them out and decorate or write in them. I really treasure and love these journals. It's so fun to see the progression of events over time. It's kind of like a little time capsule. And I will be filling in spreads in these journals. So Emma and Olivia, if you're watching, I haven't forgotten, I promise. I'm getting to this. And then I also have this memory journal that I started last year in the summer, but then quickly I didn't really keep it up as much as I wanted to. So that's kind of in this journal right now. I'm not sure what I'll be doing with this insert moving forward. This is the extra lightweight paper official like traveler's notebook inserts. These ones are not TN inserts. And I have this in here too. So this guy's looking a little chunky. That's what I'm using my regular TN for. Next, I have my Leuchtturm1917 B6 Plus. This is another hardcover journal, and this one's replacing my A5 journals. Let me see if I have it. This is my previous A5. So it's slightly smaller than an A5, but it is a little bit larger than a regular B6. And you can see how much I beat up these journals and use them. This one I haven't used as much lately, but I'm determined to start using it more. But essentially this one is replacing my A5 and how I like to use that, which is pretty much putting everything into one journal, all my notes, all my collages, ephemera, and pieces like that, lists. It's not very precious. Sometimes the collages are pretty ornate, but most of the time this is kind of like an everything journal. It's also really great for longer form journaling. I'm not really doing longer form journaling in anything else, so this is where that goes as well. And I love the little smaller size. I know it's not much of a difference from an A5, but it's enough of a difference that it feels kind of new and fresh, and I really love the color. And I always love using this for long form journaling or any, Leuchtturm journal, because the paper is always so nice to write on and is really fountain pen friendly. And I've used them for years and years, and even before I was a brand ambassador for them on this channel, I would talk about how much I love these journals. So I highly recommend them if you are a fountain pen lover and user and you want something that is good for long form writing or just everything. And I'm not gentle with them. As you saw that other one, the cover is totally warped. The pages are all warped as well, but it holds up super well. Like the elastics, they don't break. They're still very tight, and I can pretty much throw anything in there and the spine and the cover just take it. So I love that, and I'm never worried about, breaking the journals, unlike my poor little A6 that I was carrying around that was just a soft cover, and I ripped the cover off of the spine because I was beating it up like I usually do with my Leuchtturm journals, and it couldn't take it. So been really enjoying using this, and will continue to use it for all of those things. So highly recommend if you're looking for something, especially if you're like an A5 person and you want something a little bit different, but not too different. I would definitely suggest the B6 Plus, but I love it. I love this color. I love the cover, and I love that it has notably Emily on it. So that is how I'm using my B6 Plus. If you've seen my last couple of videos, you recognize this little guy. This is my latest addition to my lineup. This is the Traveler's Notebook Passport, also in camel, and I also swapped the cord for the green one. I just love the contrast and the earthy colors. And I use this as my on-the-go journal, my throw it in a bag and take it with me journal. And I have 2 inserts in here. And the big purpose of this one, of course, is to replace my scrolling when I'm out and about and give me a space to write down ideas and thoughts and whatever is on my mind instead of just, scrolling on my phone or something like that. I have come up with some great ideas while on the streetcar or on public transit or thinking through, what my next video is going to be, that kind of thing, using this journal. So it's been really enjoyable to use. And of course, I had to decorate it with some gold. So I have a little clip. I have a nice strip clip. I have some tabs here. Of course, I have the charm as well. And if you want to see a little bit more in depth, definitely check out my video about small journals changing my life and why I love them so much. But that is my little passport journal. And then when I come home, especially if I have some ideas or things I want to remember, I transfer it over to my Notion, where I keep all of my YouTube stuff all together, or I'll transfer it into another notebook like this one so that I can keep it for the long term. So this is a lot of fun to use, and I love it so much. It's so little and cute. Finally, I want to make an honorable mention to my Hobonichi Techo 5-year. I have it in the undyed leather cover in this one. I am ashamed to say I have not been using it, which is really sad. I kept up with it all throughout 2023. Even when I would fall behind, I would write in it and go back. But when I came back from my trip in Japan and Hong Kong, and there was 3 weeks I had to look back on, and it just wasn't, it wasn't enjoyable. It felt more like a chore for me, unfortunately. And I don't want to show any pages just in case they have some personal stuff on them. But you can see, I went through the whole year. And when I got back, I did do a couple of pages at the beginning, but it just ended up feeling like more of a chore. And most days I didn't really have a lot to write about. And it would end up being like, oh, work was okay, didn't really do much, or something to that effect. And I found that when I was reading it back, it didn't do much for me either. So for now, I'm keeping it and I have it still. I don't want to give up on it completely, of course, but I haven't really been using it. I would love to get back to it and maybe find a different way to approach it or a new way of looking at it so that I get more out of it. But in terms of this journal for now, I unfortunately haven't been using it. And if you've had this type of journal before and you have any advice, please let me know, because not only was it a lot of money, but I also was very excited about it at the beginning, and it makes me sad to sort of leave it for now. But I'm not beating myself up over it or feeling guilty about it. It is what it is. Forcing myself to do it won't change anything. So I wanted to mention that because people would probably ask, where my 5-year is, and that's the honest truth. And I will keep all of you updated if I do change my mind or start using it again, but that's where I'm at, sadly. But on a better note, I've been really enjoying the journals I am using and trying and experimenting with some new sizes and some new ways of approaching journaling, so that's been a lot of fun. And if you are looking for a new journal, maybe a new pen or a pencil, highly recommend Leuchtturm1917 because they offer all of those things. Even specialty journals like the Learning Journal and the Change Journal, which I'm very interested in and might want to try myself. I use their products all the time. I would never suggest anything that I didn't already use and love. And like I said before, I've loved them and have talked about them on my channel even before I was a brand ambassador, and you can go back and watch those earlier videos to see what I mean. I've been using them for 7 years now, and I highly recommend checking them out. And if you do want to purchase, my code Emily20 will get you 20% off, which is a great amount of money to get off of a pretty premium type of journal. And if you do decide to check them out or purchase anything, Thank you so much. That really helps me out and helps out the channel. That about covers my system at the moment. I hope you like these kinds of videos, and of course I have a couple more on my channel if you'd like to check those out too. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.